Today's episode of Escaping the Drift is brought to you by Mando. Are you somebody that stinks? I know it sounds crazy. Or more to the point, you got a teenager that stinks? Because, wow, this Mando stuff, they sent me a package of it to try out. And if you've got that weird odor emanating out of your teen's room, try Mando all over deodorant. Because this package they got us, man, I put it on the boy, and I got to tell you, he and his room have never smelled so good. I mean, literally, you can use this stuff all over you. I'm talking about your feet, your butt crack, anywhere you got skin, this stuff will work as a deodorant. It was created by a doctor. It lasts for up to 72 hours. And all of this stuff is baking soda free and paraben free. So if you want to try it out, if you yourself are stinky or you got a stinky teen, I'm telling you, this stuff will change your life. You can get right now Mando Starter Pack, which is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes. You get free shipping, and as a special offer for our listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That means that you're getting 40% off of this starter pack. Just use the code GAFFORD when you go to shopmando.com. That's user code GAFFORD at shopmando.com. You're going to get 40% off. So support our show. Let them know that we sent you. Obviously, this is a paid advertiser, which is how we get to be able to do what we do for you guys. So check them out. Smell fresher, stay drier, boost your confidence from head to toe. Try Mando. And now, Escaping the Drift. What year were you with Wendy Williams?
Oh, 1998, 1999.
Okay, deep. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Before I was on her,
yeah.
I was on her show.
Yeah, no.
I was on her show like 20 years ago, not 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And now, Escaping the Drift, the show designed to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I'm John Gafford, and I have a knack for getting extraordinary achievers to drop their secrets to help you on a path to greatness. So stop drifting along, escape the drift, and it's time to start right now. Back again for another episode of the podcast that, like it says in the opening, man, gets you from where you are to where you want to be. And today, beamed from the interwebs right into the studio, I got a dude that has worked in the broadcasting industry with such greats as Charlemagne. It just, this dude's resume goes on like crazy, and he has developed some systems and some processes to help you achieve some things that you have got to hear. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program. This is Dave Anderson. Dave, how are you, man?
I don't have any interesting complaints, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, interesting complaints. Where are you today, man? Where are you?
I'm at home in Philly. Relaxing, man. Just finished up homeschool with my youngest, so just relaxing today, thank God.
At home in Philly, are you still, is the hangover still going from the Super Bowl win, I'm guessing?
First of all, there is no hangover. We are still very high. We are high. We are so high, we climb greased poles without a problem, man. Like, this has been just the most wonderful year in football since the last time we won the Super Bowl. So yeah, man, I'm having a ball. Most of my friends are having a ball, and I'm really sticking it to all my friends who are Cowboys fans.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's so. Let me ask you this:
Yeah.
Why does Philly? Before we get into the thing to help folks, why does Philly have such a reputation for having such confrontational fans? One of my favorite things I've seen on the internet, and probably the last year, is somebody said, "Hear me out. A new reality show. We take MMA fighters, we take UFC fighters, and we put them in the opposing team's jerseys and take them to Philly sporting events."
They won't survive.
I think, dude, what is it about? Is it the passion of the city? Is it a tribal instinct that we have to beat up opposing fans? What is it?
We're a gritty city. I don't think people understand. First of all, we're the birthplace of America. We don't get any credit for it. We are always, in the shadow of New York City. The other part of that is all of us, black, white, brown, yellow, we have all had to fight for every inch of what we have. And so we want our respect and we demand our respect. And if you're cool, we're cool. But if you come with it, we're going to end you. And I just think that that's what makes us so resilient, man. Like, you guys, people have different things outside of Philly, like hot dogs and things of that nature. We chop up steaks and put it on a bun.
Fair. That's fair.
It. We have a jail in Veterans Stadium. Did you notice we have a jail at the bottom of Veterans Stadium? We're the first sports complex to have a jail and a courtroom in the stadium.
And it's probably pretty busy.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I think Lincoln Financial Field just takes them off now. But in the days of the vet, when I was a little kid, there was a jail and a court right there
In the stadium. Was that
in
designed to
Veterans
get them
Stadium.
back in the stands to just adjudicate them quickly, give you a ticket, and then get you back out?
There was such a backlog in the jail every time there was a sporting event because we'd be fighting. You mix Philadelphia grit with a whole lot of beer, yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. It's gonna be
It's
fights.
not going
It's
to pay
gonna be
off.
fights.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about you, man. So obviously
Sure.
you're a guy that's
Sure.
achieved a lot of success and helped a lot of people become very
Sure.
successful.
Sure.
So I'm always interested in kind of the nature versus nurture thing, man. Tell me about you growing up.
Mhm. Yeah, wow. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a cop. So very, you know, basic home life. But everybody in my family, my mom's family, they were really big on education, really big on reading, and you were allowed to have an opinion. You just had to back it up with a whole lot of research. So if you had a difference of opinion, you better be ready to back it up at the dinner table with charts and PDFs and the whole nine. And that was a big thing. The other thing that, when I came up, my brother and I, you could start whatever you wanted to, but you either finished it or you quit. And if you quit, you couldn't pick it back up. So I learned 7 instruments. I sang. My brother was a 3-sport athlete. I was doing radio at 9, TV at 15. So there was this mindset of you finish what you start and you become the best at it, or you don't bother doing it at all, because your last name meant something in my house. And to this day, that's how I am with my kids. Like, Andersons don't give up. You're Anderson. What do you mean you can't do this? Figure it out. So,
We don't quit. So you
yeah.
said you were doing TV at 9.
I was on radio at 9, TV at 15. Mm-hmm.
Doing on the radio at 9.
Everybody says that, but nobody bats an eye about the Olsen twins having the #1 show as infants. I was doing a show called.
They just had to stand there and get held. They didn't have to do anything. Hosting a radio show, dude, you got to actually kind of bring it. I mean, at a 9-year-old, you're hosting a radio show?
Yeah, I was co-hosting with an adult, thank God, and I was having the time of my life. We were playing, music that was kid-centered. We were talking about things that kids go through. Like, kids have problems, and everybody ignores kids until they grow up, or they get into trouble before they grow up. The premise of the show was to give kids a place to feel safe, a safe space before that was a thing, and to also give them guidance and show them that life does not have to start when you're 18. There are things you can do now. So we encourage kids to foster their talents, to be creative, to show up and show out and be who they are in an expressive way. And it was a phenomenal breeding ground for me, man. But yeah, from the time I was 9 to the time I was 17, I did that show. And it was one of the greatest experiences in my life.
So when did you transition to support, kind of behind the scenes with all of these things?
I would say, at this particular point, and in radio, you jump up and down the dial, you're a nomad. And I started to get into programming while still being on the air. And then I got approached to produce very young, about 22. I produced my first show in Philadelphia. It's a major market morning show. And then I wound up going to the competition and producing Wendy Williams when she came down from New York. So I was about 22 then, but full time going behind the scenes.
What year was that? What year were you with Wendy Williams?
1998, 1999.
Okay, deep. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Before I was on
Yeah.
I was on her show.
Yeah, no.
I was on her show like 20 years ago, not 30 years ago.
Yeah. So, at that point, I moved into Austin. I was programming in Austin, and I got approached by DJ Clue's people to help syndicate Desert Storm Radio. And that was like my first huge syndicated show. And then from there, I wound up putting Ricky Smiley in the syndication 2 years later in Dallas. And after that, I became the first director of social media for a broadcast corporation, and then I retired.
Yeah, let me get right to the top and get out. It's funny, man. You would have thought, man, you would have really thought by this point that radio would be in serious trouble. I mean, my sister actually is on iHeart. She's in Denver. She's the #1 rated morning show in Denver. She's all talk, and has been for years. But yeah, just like you said, and I keep waiting for it to be like, well, that's kind of the end of talk radio, and it just keeps on trucking.
Yeah,
just keeps on doing it.
Yeah, the thing of it is,
go ahead.
I think that people don't understand how conditioned we are to tradition. So, for example, you've gone to the movies in the past year or two, right?
Mhm.
And you've seen how people will stand in a line like they did when we were kids. Just stand in the line, wait for the pimple faced kid to give you your tickets, even though you, we got apps, bro. But we're conditioned to that. So people are conditioned to listen to what's happening on morning radio, and there's nothing you can do to fake that authenticity, that local flair, and that gritty, wonderful quality that radio brings when it comes to talk. Has it diminished? Yes. Has it had to evolve? Yes. Has it had to embrace things that are not traditionally radio? Absolutely. Is it going anywhere? That's like saying, are vinyl records going anywhere? Do we use them all the time? No,
Yeah,
but they're
big
back
way,
in a
dude.
big way.
Big way. They're back, and I think, it's funny. Not to, I'm not going to spend all the time talking about radio, but this is why I don't have prepared questions, because I don't know where these conversations are going to go. Just what I think
Right.
is interesting. You look at like Spotify and Apple
Yeah.
Music and all that stuff, right? And I find myself like, I get in my car and
Mm-hmm.
it's even if you put the Spotify DJ on, whatever, it's
Right.
like the same 30 songs over and over
Mm-hmm.
and over. You just people don't get exposed to new music like they used to regularly, because people don't listen to the radio. They're listening, even if you go on XM, right? Or
Right.
Sirius, and
Right.
you put it on your channel, you're like, it's still the same, like 30 songs in rotation.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing new. So I think just like people kind of gravitated back to vinyl, I think you'll start to see, I think that's why terrestrial radio will always kind of be around.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Always.
think the other part of that, really quick, is when you look at the way we operate, people are getting hip, especially in the business world. Like if you buy a commercial spot on a radio station, once the DJ says we're going to pay some bills, people are tuning out. It's a natural thing to do. If you buy a spot on a podcast or on a YouTube channel or some streaming program, that thing is there forever. So you get a whole lot more bang for your buck. So they're still trying to make adjustments as to how to make up for that in the digital space. But I think there'll always be some station someplace, and God forbid if there's some type of natural disaster,
Yeah, dude, it's where you get real-time information for sure.
That's it.
Well, let's talk about what you did after you retired, because I think that's where you kind of took off, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. What was the thinking when you retired from radio? What was the leap like? Because a lot of people, man, are in some job that maybe they're doing well, they hit the glass ceiling, they hit whatever, they're not getting what they want in life. Talk to me about the decision to walk away from that 9 to 5 into something else.
Here's what I understand, and I'm honest with myself. I'm not here to tell you I'm perfect. I'm not. I'm a horrible employee. Not because I don't do my job well, but I want to do the job the way I know the job should be done, not the way that you ding dongs think it needs to happen. And when it's not your ship, you can't control how they want the job done. You just got to go in there and do the job without thinking. That doesn't work for me. And what I realized when I got out of it, when you look at my resume, it's all radio, television, film, stand up, all of these things. And if you're a supervisor, you're like, you're just going to do this until you go back to Hollywood. And I'm like, no, I want to do this. And nobody would hire me except for sales gigs. And so I realized that I've been selling since 1987. I've been selling since I was 9 years old. The job is to show people how what you have is going to make their lives better or solve a problem. And at that point, once I realized that, I started really killing in these sales jobs. So I sold everything from cable to gutters. And then I started selling home security systems. And I worked for Honeywell. Honeywell had one. And then I was going around cutting out ADT systems. And so ADT bought my contract. And I wound up selling for ADT. And then people were asking me, how do you sell like this? And I just got sick of telling them. So I wrote a book called Pitch, Close, Upsell, Repeat as to what my sales strategy was. And then the next thing I know, 100,000 books out of the trunk. And here we are.
Off you went.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. A couple of things you said. Number one, I find that every great entrepreneur is chronically unemployable, is what how I like to refer to them. I myself was an employee for a lot of my life. Miserable employee. Like if I'm not in charge, I'm a terrible employee. I'm the worst. I did a good job when I worked for major corporations that I worked for, but I was a miserable employee because I was always like, well, why do we have to do it that way when this way is better? I get it. So that desire to steer your own ship. And if you have that, if you're out there listening to this and you got that, that's not going to go away. That's something that's in you or it's not. The second thing, talking about, learn. I love that you talked about when you get great at selling something and you're really talented at it, your competitors will come and recruit you. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I got a book coming out in November 5th. If you want to get the book, check it out. Get on the mailing list. It's coming out November 5th, distributed by Smith and Schuster, which is really exciting.
Nice.
But I talk very much the most important skill you can learn is sales, because if you can sell anything. So your first gig was door to door, which I respect the hell out of that. When I first got into sales, my first job was cars. That's where I learned how to sell, was on a car lot a million years ago. I was only there for 7 weeks. My buddy told me if you go spend 2 months on a car lot, you have a PhD. And he was right. I spent 7 weeks on a car lot, and that's where I learned to sell. But going door to door is a whole nother animal, right? It's that not knowing what's going to happen on the other side of the door. So let's talk about what made you great at that. What made you great?
Bro, they asked Jeff Bezos one time, how does he pick an employee, especially when it comes to his inner circle? And he says simply, I find the laziest person I can find, because a lazy person is going to figure out the simplest way to do it. And what I realized is, I'm in Philly. You said it yourself. It's Philly. Someone just got shot. So I would turn on the TV at 4:00 in the morning, and the 600 block of 19th Street, there were 3 shootings.
Oh
and so the 600 block of 19th Street is where I would go. Hey, listen, not to bother you, real quick. Do you know Miss Jenkins just got shot? Oh, you didn't hear? What kind of security system do you have? Well, we're running a $39 special right now. Oh, no, you don't need to worry about credit or a long-term contract. It's month to month. Sign here and here. And so by the end of the block, I'd met my month's quota, and then I would just rinse and repeat every day. That's it. I go to where the need is. I'm not trying to do the random, hi, how you doing? I'm Dave with ADT, and crime is bad. No, I'm going where the bleeding is happening, and I'm coming with gauze, some needles, some Band-Aids, and a daggone bus to take you to the hospital every day.
Wow. That is, I mean, that is dude, I've been doing this for a long time, right? That's probably the best example I've ever heard of identifying a buying market, identifying a target rich environment, no pun intended on shooting, but just being able to identify who you're selling to.
Yeah.
And so how do you take that methodology and translate it into other industries? How do you do it?
The thing of it is, everybody likes to buy. Nobody wants to be sold to. So the thing that people miss out on is they're worrying about their quotas. They're worrying about their commissions. They're worrying about making money. They're not concerned about building relationships. It's not what you know. And the lie is, it's who you know. No, it's not. It's who knows you and is willing to admit to it. And so when you start building relationships, the thing that I do with every single person I ever meet, I say, listen, I just got one question for you. What can I do to make your life better? And people are like, wait, you're asking me how you can help me? And I'm like, yeah, because if I help you, and I mean help you in a real way, not like how people say, hey, how you doing? Like, if I help you in a real way, there's nothing you won't do for me. And you know better than anybody, money is one thing, but a favor when you need to pull it, whoo, worth a whole lot more than money. And so that's what you do. You find a way to build relationships, and people will be so happy. Hey, have you met Bob? Bob is awesome. You got to sit down with Bob. Bob, you got to meet Dave. Dave is crazy. He does all these things, man. He's got the sales technique, and he's got these books, and he speaks all over these. They will start to be your army of how great you are, and you never have to toot your own horn. And so that translates in every single industry. If you're looking at somebody and you know, like say if you're doing hair and you say, listen, I see that you got some split ends. I understand that. Do you know that the simplest thing to do is do a deep conditioner and then also do some apple cider vinegar, rinse, and then put on a bonnet that has satin lining? Or if you don't like bonnets, that's fine. Put on a satin lined pillowcase. Your split ends will stop and you won't need to come into me as much. Now that might seem like you're losing money, but what you just did was get a customer for life. Loyalty is powerful.
Yeah, for me, man, my superpower, and I say my superpower, I probably picked it up from Dan Fleischman, who was a friend of mine, and he always says his superpower was his phone. And I've taken on that same idea, that same persona, where when I meet somebody and they start talking about what they're doing or how it can help, I don't really I don't ask, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
I just think, who do I know that could help this person? What connection can make this idea go faster, further, create a sale, create revenue, help both parties? And they're like, I'll say like, oh, you got to meet my friend Bill. I think Bill could really help you with what they're doing. This is what they're doing. And this is why it would work together. Here, give me your number. I'm going to connect you guys.
Right.
And then that is a really simple way to connect with somebody else.
Yeah.
And if you want somebody to save you, and if you want somebody to save you in your phone, in their phone, dude, get their number and yours, and then do a 3-way text with somebody that can help them.
Yeah. It's over.
They're going to save. They're going to save that. And I try to always think every time I'm in a situation, somebody's starting business, I'm like, who can I connect them with that could help make this go faster? Right. Or help what they're doing. That's always my thought process. Yeah. So I love that you come from that place of giving and you do that. So let's talk about when you wrote your first book, man, because you've written a bunch of books now, right?
Yeah, like 22.
Like 22 books.
22.
Right. So that first one, and here's the thing, you've been doing this since before AI would spit a book out. So the use is actually.
Oh no, it's me locked in a room. I used to do it with legal pads, and I switched to composition books. Then I started to get like cramping in my hands from typing. So now I just verbally do it and let the editors do their thing. But yeah, no, way before AI. So pitch close up. Pitch close up, so repeat was my first one.
That was the first book. What was it like when you were writing that book and you were going through it? Did you know who you wanted to take it to as far as a publisher? Like, what was the goal for that book?
No,
self-publish it.
I self-published. I had one publishing deal when I was young. I wrote a novella, and I'm not a fiction writer. So I got a nice advance, and then it didn't go anywhere, and I kind of soured on it at that point. And I said, I got to figure out a way to do this myself. Like, I will bootstrap everything, bro. And so with this particular book, I said, I'm going to self-publish it. I think there's a lot of people who are just scared of selling because everybody has this picture in their mind. Right now, if I say sales, you see a used car lot, some guy with a trailer coming out with a tweed jacket with leather patches trying to sell you a lemon of a car. And the truth of it is, like I tell people all the time, have you ever gotten your mother to give you a toy when you're out shopping and she says she's not going to buy you anything? I said, yeah, well, congratulations, you've sold. Are you married? Yeah. Have you convinced your wife to procreate with you? Oh, you've sold. My wife sells me all the time on stuff. Honey, this shampoo makes my hair smell so much better than this one, but this one's like $20 more. Baby, I like the way that one makes your hair smell. You go and get. Did she just close me? So I think once you understand and demystify the negative connotation that sales has, it becomes an exchange of solving problems for money. And once you do that, it's great.
Yeah, one of my biggest problems with people that are in the sales industry is they try to create these different bullshit terms that are like, no, I'm not a salesman. I'm a luxury consultant. No, dude, you work at Gucci. Stop. Right? It's okay. And I think that's the thing. So many people have just made it in their own mind to loathe what they do. Like, like you asked me what to do. Like, dude, we sell. Like I am an elite level salesperson. That is what I do. That's what we do. And I own that. I don't try to sugarcoat it as in my industry, because we're in real estate, certain people are like, we are a home lifestyle consultant. No, dude, you sell houses. That's what you do. Own it. And just be good at it, because there's nothing wrong with it, because the world needs salespeople. And I think that because, again, if you come at it from a place where you're problem solving and you're actually getting there, there's so many people that need a good salesperson to get them where they need to go. I found one of the interesting things I found about the car dealership was the people that let you do your thing always seem to get a better deal and were happier. And the people that wanted to fight you tooth and nail always got their heads popped off and they always left mad. Yeah. It was crazy. So, like, what do you think people can do in the sales industry to make the image of what we do better?
First of all, don't have commission breath. Lead with sincerity. Like, talk to people, build a rapport. Stop focusing on your numbers. Your numbers are a result of the energy you put out. It's not the thing. Hitting a quota is never going to get you where you need to be. Being honest, being relatable, and being transparent will always get you where you need to be. But if you're coming across salesy, if you're coming across corny, if you're trying to be too slick, if you are too high powered, and when I say high powered, I mean, I'm not saying don't dress nice, but if you're wearing the nut huggers and the too tight polo, or, the $10,000 suit, and you're selling a $500 net book, hold on, homie. We see you.
Okay, so that leads me to my next question based on what you just said, which
Mhm.
is what is your genuine feeling about some of the alpha sales gurus that are out on the internet right now?
I
And
think
you
they
know who
suck.
I'm
Oh yeah, no, I think they suck donkey crotch because they're selling something that most people can't pull off. And now their industry has become going into these dealerships, going into these companies, going in with these consultancies and saying, "Oh, all you got to do is stand there with your nuts all the way up in your chin and then do 50 push-ups, and that's going to get this." No, no, and then stop telling them dumb stuff like, "Well, you look at my TikTok, I've got 37,963,000." Yeah, half of what you bought. The other half are there to laugh at you because you're a meme. Like, we've got to start getting back to what actually works. And the thing that will always lead you to success is going to be personable relationships where you're
relationships.
concentrating on how their outcome is first. You get them their outcome, your income will grow and go up. It's as simple as that. And these gurus are ruining everything because they're selling people a bunch of goods and they're taking a bunch of frat boys directly from the frat house off of their daggone cake stands and in the car dealerships and in the corporations, thinking that they're going to turn around and make it happen because they saw some. I don't want to use the word douche, but they saw somebody who is of ill repute in the back of a Maybach, and they think that that's going to be their life in 6 weeks. And surprise, it ain't.
Yeah, I look at some of it and you see it. I tend not to follow a lot of the people, but occasionally I'll be at an event or speaking somewhere and I'll walk around the corner and I'll see one of these dudes I'm talking about and be like, oh great, here's this person. And I just feel like I hate the alpha culture, dude. Like I'm in the
Yeah.
gym every single day. I do my thing, but
Mhm.
I'm not standing in front of a mirror going, like I hate that culture. I think it's so
Yeah.
stupid. It's
Yeah.
just dumb. And I think, there's a movie. I hate to say this, but there's a movie out there. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. It's what is it? It's Luke Wilson.
Oh,
It
the
goes
one where
into
he falls asleep and then Terry Crews becomes
he's
the president.
yes, yeah. He's the smartest guy in the world. Yeah.
Idiocracy.
Idiocracy, exactly. And I just watched that movie and I see, and I'm going to say it's not frat boys because the people following these guys don't have an education at all. And I just see them grunting and get fired up and I just see this and I'm like, bro, this is the dumbing down of America in real time
Yeah.
on it live in color. And some of the stuff that I see that people teach is just so transparently stupid. Like
Yes.
if anybody ever walked up to me and said half of the stuff that comes out of some of these sales trainers' mouths, I'd be like,
Mhm.
bro, you got to be kidding me. For example, let's talk about this because cold calls, you are in sales, cold calls are a way of life.
Yes.
I want to talk about, I made a video the other day on my Instagram, and it was basically I got victimized by a cold call. Is what I said. I got victimized by a cold call, and I said this dude calls me, and first thing out of his mouth is, "Hey, is this John? Blah blah blah. How you doing today?" And I'm like, "Okay, sales call. There you go." And he's like, "So
Right.
my CEO asked me to reach out to you." I'm like, "Really? Who's your CEO?" He's like, "What's Bob Smith or whatever?" I'm like, "How does Bob Smith know me?" And he's like,
Right.
well, like, dude. And he just fumbled. And I said, and I eventually just let him off the hook. And it's funny. I made this video, like the 10 commandments of cold calling is if you're going to do it. And I said, I'll start it out. Number one, never ask anybody how you doing today. Because as soon as you say that, and they always do it in that same cadence. How you doing today?
How you doing
It's
today?
like I instantly know you're a salesperson. You don't know me. When is the last time you called one of your friends and said, "Hey, Dan, how you doing today?" You say,
Never.
"What's up, man? How you doing? Hey, what's happening?"
Right.
You never say,
Right.
"How you doing today?" Nobody.
Yep.
I know you're a sales. Number
Mhm.
two, don't tell me your CEO asked me to call you. That's one of the new in vogue things. Oh, they asked me to call you, unless you're ready to be called on it, because this dude was not.
Right.
It's like, da, 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 da. And it just went on and on and on. And the funny thing was, the first comment that I got back on that video and I made it was some dude said, he goes, I mean, if you get victimized by getting a sales call, I mean, you're a little soft. And I'm like, okay, bro, you don't understand what I was trying to say. If Gordon Ramsay goes into a restaurant and they serve him a terrible meal, he's going to say, this chef just victimized me because
Right.
he's a master. Yes, I'm very good at what I do. So if somebody does it sloppily, I'm saying you victimize me. So
Period.
what sense you walk me through what makes a good sales call?
To me, a good sales call comes down to doing the research before you call. Like, you can prepare for a cold call. You can do your research, especially in this day and age when you've got every answer to every question in your phone. You should automatically know who you're talking to, what they're into, what they like, where they're struggling. You should see opportunities on their website for improvement. There should be so many things in your arsenal that all you're doing is just picking from the buffet of, I'm about to close this bugger. And we don't do that. We just go, hey, it's Dave Anderson. How are you doing?
How you doing today?
Yeah, no. Listen, man, your website, I was looking at it, and I bet you're having some sales conversion problems. Well, yeah, how'd you know that? Because your website made me want to click off in the first 5 minutes. Tell me more. Like, you've got to start by taking the time to show that you cared enough not to just call them out the blue and waste their time. You're calling to save them from something they don't even realize. It's like if you and I are walking down the road, and I've been down this road before, and I go, yo, John, hey, no, not right. No, come on this side because there's a hole right there. You're not going to debate me about the hole. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you that there's a hole there when there isn't. You're going to take my advice because I saw the hole ahead of time, and I'm preventing you from getting into that hole. We don't do that. It's about, I got to get these numbers. There's some dumb chick named Linda listening and running your calls, and she's playing with her hair, and she's worrying about your bio breaks. Damn you, Linda! So we have to get back to making sure we're researching ourselves. Secondly, we've got to make sure we're building a rapport and doing that naturally. Not like, hey, how you doing? Like, what's been going on, man? Like, what are the things that...
I want to stop you. I want to back up real quick because you said know who you're calling or know about them, right?
Right.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they try to sell the same way to the same people always, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you are in a business that you're selling tools or services to salespeople, don't sell them like you would everybody else. You just cannot do it. That's why, like, look, I think salespeople are actually the easiest people to sell to if you do it right. Like, no bullshit rapport, none of that. They know you have forget all of the script, forget all that stuff. Yep. If you're calling a salesperson, come out of the box with what you got, why it's going to help them, and how long it's going to take to talk about it. Hey, man, I got product X. None of your competitors are using it. You can absolutely use it to kick their ass. Is it worth 30 seconds to hear about it?
That's it.
What do you got, dude?
That's it.
I'll hear your pitch. I'll hear your pitch. But if you call me with the chunky, my CEO asked me to come on, dude. Can we just, like, time is valuable, right? Most good salespeople, when they hear a bad pitch, they're just going to hang up on you because they're trying to save you time.
That's it. Because you might as well move on to the next contestant because I'm not falling for that BS. You know?
So let's go back. Pick it back up. So we're building rapport now. Pick it back up.
Yeah, we're building rapport, and you build rapport not on the Eagles won, because I mean 95% of people who love football hate the Eagles right now, and that's fine. We're not going to win anything here, but we build rapport on the things.
97%, 97. I'll go on the Eagle hate. I got a girl that works for me on my team that went to the Super Bowl. She's still posting about it. It's crazy.
Yeah. She deserves a raise. Give that woman a raise.
She's like, here's your daily reminder that the Eagles won Super Bowl. It's like,
absolutely. I do a sports show with some folks, and every time I'm on, I have a different piece of Eagles paraphernalia on just to annoy them. But no, you build rapport on what you have in common, and that's the solution to their problem. Like, yo, listen, I know it sucks right now. I know.
Keep going. That's the goods. Yeah, that's the goods.
I know what you're doing sucks right now, and they don't see it. That's fine. This is me and you talking. So what I got right now is going to set you far ahead of everybody in there to the point where you'll be running that place in 6 months. No BS. What would you like to know first? Oh, well, how can I run the place in 6 months? Okay, cool. This takes care of this, that, and the third. This CRM here is better because it does bop, 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 bop. What are you currently using? Oh, well, they got us using, CRM X. Oh, because it's 2003 there, huh? Yeah. And they're like, yeah, man, they're in the dark age. They all are. That's why I'm trying to drag you out kicking and screaming. I need you to be my pioneer. All right, well, what's it going to cost? It's not going to cost you anything, but when you start producing, it's going to be this. And then your managers are going to want to know, bop, bop, bop. And then at that point, you're an ally. You're not a salesperson, And then from there, the deal should close itself with the ability for you to answer their questions knowledgeably. If you don't know the product that you're selling, intimately, why are you on the phone? Why are you talking? You should not be selling anything. You need to go back to the training room and study. You need to be using this stuff. Why do we sell products we don't use or believe in? That to me
Well,
is a
that's the key, dude. Everybody I've ever met that has said, "Oh, I did sales once, I hated it." What were you selling? "Oh, I was selling this." "Was it a good product or bad?" "Oh, it was terrible." Well, that's why you hated your job, because you had to stand there and lie to people all day.
yeah,
If you don't believe in what you're selling, bro, you're never going to want to do it. You're never going to be any good at it, ever.
right. And why do you think anybody's going to buy? Like, if you're not thrilled about it, why is anybody else going to be thrilled about it? It's this whole notion of, in wrestling, they always say, if you're not here to try and be the champion one day, then why are you in the building? It's that same thing. If you don't believe in the product or service that you're selling, how do you think you're going to close anybody? Yeah, any dumb cluck. I can get a dancing chimp to close 2 sales a day. That doesn't make you a good salesperson. That's just the law of averages. But if you don't believe in what you have, you see it, I see it. Like, I believe in me. I can't expect people to be fans of mine if I'm not a fan of me first. I can't expect people to think I prioritize my health if I'm eating junk food and not moving my body. Like, some of this is common sense, but we negate it because we're so focused on getting the sale, closing the deal. Let's go in here. Let's get our private jet sales guru type shirt on. And no. And then finally, you let them just tell you, how to close them, and then you close them from there. You should be writing up the order at this point.
Well, what's funny that you said, and we talked about earlier, I think a little bit, was getting in a rut or getting on a roll in sales is something that attitude has everything. You said, like, you can't have commission breath. And I think that, we've all had, if you're in sales, you've had times when you're just snapping. Everybody's just buying. You can't write fast enough. Everything's just going your way.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with what you're projecting internally. And then you have times when you get in a slump, dude, and all of a sudden you're like, hey man, like, my bank account's starting to go down a little bit and starting to feel the heat a little bit.
Yeah.
And then people they start smelling desperation. Like, I always tell people, like, if you want the best deal on a car, I tell you this all the time, here's what you do. Number one, go to the dealership on the last day of the month. That's fine. Somewhere in the dealership, there's going to be a big board in there with all the salesmen's names on it with a bunch of X's and lines on it. Find the dude that has the least number of X's and lines and say you want to work with him.
Yeah.
Because that dude is so desperate, he's going to fall over and not fight for anything just to get a unit moved to try to keep his job. So if all of that is said, if you get in a slump in sales, what's the best way to get out of that and to maintain that calm and still put out that good energy and not put out that negative energy?
In my opinion, and this is not a universal rule, but in my opinion, the best way to do that is to act as if the deal's already closed. Like, you've got to put yourself in that position. Like, you don't know this about me, but I used to be 561 pounds. I always saw myself at 240. Now I'm at 240, but it took a lot of work to get there. But I always acted as if I'm going to do it. What does a 240-pound man do? Well, he goes to the gym. He drinks a gallon of water. He's doing 15,000 steps a day. Like, what is he doing? He's lifting heavy. He's prioritizing protein. Like, what are the things? You got to put yourself in that energy. What happens is we start letting the bills and home life and all of these external things get with what's happening here. Nobody cares about that when they're there to just get a car. They don't care what the problems you got. And baby needs a new pair of shoes, and I got to go down to the dealership and get myself my own car because I'm not going to buy a car from here. All of that is outside waiting on you. Your problems are waiting on you. In there, you're a problem solver. In there, you're a machine. In there, everything is right with the world because this is the place where the money is happening, baby. This is Vegas, and you're a high roller. You've got to take on that mindset, even when it sucks. Even when it's hard. Listen, you have pretended to like your boss and laugh at his corny jokes for less. You're not willing to pretend like everything is all right in your personal life in order to come up professionally, in order to switch that energy up. Also, move your body. Go get yourself a new shirt or press the one that you have. Switch out your outfits. Get something going so that you feel good about yourself. Change your hair. Get a haircut. Like, external things will change you. I have one of my best friends, a guy named Ace, right? And believe it or not, he cuts my hair. I know I have locks, but trust me. But the thing that No, but the thing of it is, bro, he'll tell you. People get out of his chair and it's like they're transformed. Their energy is different. They feel like they can take on the world. And then they'll FaceTime their woman. I do it myself. I FaceTime my wife, like, yo. He said, oh, you look good. I'm zooming home. I'm running red lights to get to Mari so she can see how good I look. If you do things that make you feel good, that energy is palpable. The same thing happens when your energy is negative and you're listening to your boss talking about, well, you know, it's the end of the month. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Cool, no problem, Chuck. I'm on it. Watch my smoke. And I'm there early and I'm the last one out because I got to make this happen. And that's that. And then you go back to what you were doing that was working, that you can control, that you're no longer doing. You got to take stock.
I love that you said feel good, play good, pretty much is what you said, because I tell people, if you're in a slump, step number one, wear a suit every single day. You got to put a suit on, because to me, man, it's like that's your Superman suit. Like there's a change in that physiology. Like if you're rolling into the office, and I'm casual today because a little nippy in Vegas today, believe it or not.
Really? What's nippy in Vegas?
High is only 58 today, so a little nippy in Vegas today. Yeah, it's cold, right?
That's Philly weather.
Yeah, it is, dude. It's like it's cold outside for here. For this time of year. It should be like it's gonna be 97 like next week. So there you go. But anyway, but yeah, look good, feel good. And I always tell people, like, if you make that change, you put on a Superman outfit, right? It's gonna change your physicality will change your physiology, which will change your outcome. Two, I'm a real big believer on visualization of things that you want to manifest. And right now, I think, for me, like for all of the stuff we use ChatGPT through, and we use it all day long for a million different things in our company. But for me, like one of the most valuable that I never really hear anybody talk about is ChatGPT is now, especially with the new upgrade, makes incredible imagery. So dude, you can, like when you write out your goals and you're writing that vision statement about what you're going to have, absolutely tell it what you want, like describe what you're after. And it will create an image of that is so vivid. It's like a picture and it's there. Like if you go to my gym right now, my gym, my house, I got stuck on the wall. I have a copy of my book in the airport bookstore. It says bestseller. And part of my deal is they have to distribute, part of the deal I signed, that they have to distribute it in the bookstores at the mall in Hudson News. So yeah, that's going to happen. And I put that up over a year ago. Like that deal, that happened. I had one that said I had an old partner that kind of did me dirty north of 7 figures. And I had one of a settlement statement where it said this deal was settled. It just got settled like 3 weeks ago. That happened. Not all of them come to fruition, but dude, if you just look at that imagery and you just absolutely feel it as though that it's happened, I don't know, dude, say what you want. The Jim Carrey checking his wallet for $8 million, the stuff on my mirror, it works. And if nothing else, it puts you in a good headspace to get where you want to be. And you just, I find so many people when that ball starts rolling negative, man, they just keep rolling with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're looking for other people to, co-sign their BS. And it's like, no, get up. Okay. You lost. You want to stay down? You gonna be a little punk about it? You gonna cry, or are you gonna make it happen? Are you gonna rise above your circumstances? This is temporary. Life is going to throw you curveballs. Things are going to get bad. Are you going to stay there, or are you going to realize like this is just the turn in the story? Like I'm a huge comic book fan. I love comic book movies. Thanos snapped half of the Avengers along with half of the people in the universe. That's bad. But then it got undone.
Is that an accomplishment for Thanos? Like you didn't get them all, but you got half. Like what are we really? It depends on your perspective.
But Thanos was a conservationist. People don't understand this. He was like, y'all are having too many kids. The amoebas are amoebaing way too much. Then you realize if you get rid of half of that, it's people out here with blue skies and full bellies now. There are whales in the Hudson River. Captain America said, maybe Thanos had a point. It all comes to your perspective. And even the directors and the writers of that movie, the first one, will tell you Thanos was the hero of that movie. It was his hero's journey. He had a mission. He saw it very clearly. Everybody told him it was crazy. He sacrificed his daughter. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen a movie from 7 years ago. But that's the thing. You've got to get yourself in the mindset that this is what it's going to be, regardless. And everybody who is in your world are the children of John. In my case, rejoice. You are now the children of Dave. You should be happy that I'm closing you today.
Hang on, though. That brings up an interesting point, though, because I think a big part of your success is who you choose to surround yourself with. I think
Yes.
if you surround yourself with a bunch of people that are holding you back in any facet of life,
Yeah.
how do you? So obviously, you probably feel the same way. How do you let those people go? How do you make that decision to cull the herd, to Thanos out the universe, your own personal universe? How do you make that call? That's going to your
Yeah.
next book, isn't it?
Yeah.
That phrase right there is going to the
No,
next
but
book.
that's a good one. I'm going to do that. Culling the universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark it down. Thank you, John. For
There it
me,
is.
it's as simple as this. There's a scene in Heat where Daenerys says, I don't get attached to anything that I can't leave in 15 minutes.
Walk out on two in 15 seconds.
There it is, 15 seconds. That's what it is. So for me, I'm of the mind that there's only two places to be. You're either with me or you're in my way. And if you're not with me 100%, I don't need you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm at a point where I have to preserve me. This is what I told my oldest daughter when she was a teenager. I said, because she's like, you don't care about my feelings. I said, Dory, of course I care about your feelings. I love you. You're my child. I said, let me ask you something. If you have a bad day and your feelings, which are valid, are just horrible, and you're having a bad mental health space, what changes about your lifestyle from a financial standpoint? Nothing. If I have a bad day, what changes about your lifestyle from a financial standpoint? Oh, Daddy, we're effed. And she didn't say effed. I said,
Yeah.
That's it. So I need you to get on board this train. I don't care if you agree, but where I'm going, I'm going to need you to go ahead and get in this caboose and start shoveling some coal. Like, this is where we're going. You got to have that, because what happens is you're going to find yourself in a place where you're sleeping with the enemy, or the people around you can't see your vision. I mean, that's biblical. It happened with Joseph. It happened with Moses. It happened with Jesus. There's always people who don't see the vision that God gave you, and they're looking at you like you're crazy. They said Noah was a drunk. He built the ark. Professionals built the Titanic. Everybody around you has to understand that, listen, even if I don't agree, I'm going to let that person rock, because they're doing something that I don't think is possible. But if I get out of their way long enough, they might do it. But yeah, if you're around me with that negativity, if you walk in a room and all of a sudden film starts developing, you got to go. It's real easy for me to chop you off.
Well, I think that brings up two things. Number one, for me, is a real quick way to get cut out of my circle is anybody that tries to be the main character in my movie. Like, I'm sorry, this is my movie, and if you're trying to take over and be the main character of my film, I'm gonna replace you. You're gonna hit the cutting room floor. And then two, one of the saddest probably things that I've seen as far as a meme or a quote or whatever you want to call them that they are, that I kind of took as a personal challenge, which was said, when your father dies, you've officially lost the only man that ever wants to see you do better than they are, or they did. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's terrible, because it's probably sort of true. But dude, I root like crazy for all my friends to do well. And I got a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends that do exponentially better than I do. And I root like crazy for them. And I'm so happy for them. I make it a point to cheer when my friends win. And I think that's something that is, I think the hustle mentality a little bit, the hustle culture that's come up in the last 5 to 7 years has created so much competition, which, don't get me wrong, competition is great. I love compete. I love competition. I love all of that stuff. But at the same time, you got to also be rooting for your people on your team.
Yeah, no, it's the most important thing to be a cheerleader when it's time to be a cheerleader, because everybody has their time. You know, you look at Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is not in the conversation as to who's the greatest between Jordan and LeBron, but Dennis Rodman led the league in rebounds. By the way, Michael Jordan never won a championship that did not involve Scottie Pippen. Everybody has a role to play. So why am I going to get mad? You don't ever hear Superman hating on Aquaman. And I mean, he could. Talking to the fish is not exactly the sexiest superpower, but everybody has their lane. Everybody has their purpose. And it's lonely at the top because everybody thinks everything is a competition. And it's not. The best thing you can do is collaborate with like-minded people. And so I want the best for everybody, because if that's the case, then we're all winning. My grandfather, who had a 6th grade education, said, Dave, a candle never lost anything by lighting another one. That's how I live my life.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to challenge what you said a little bit, though. You said collaborate with like-minded people. I like to collaborate with people that think differently from me as much as I can, because I think the echo chambers that everybody likes to crawl in, where everybody agrees with everybody. I mean, I would say like I have a great business partner in our businesses here, and we do not always agree on everything.
Right.
Because we've always said, bro, if we always agree, one of us shouldn't be here.
When I say like-minded, I mean you and you and I might say, okay, I want to climb this mountain, and I'm like, yo, jetpack. You're like ropes and cleavers and sticks and guides. I'm like jetpack. We're both trying to go to the top of the mountain. We don't agree on how to get there, but the goal is the same. Our methodologies can be completely different. But if we have that goal that we're going to get there one way or the other, and if one of us is falling off the side of the mountain, we're going to lift the other one up, then we're going to win. I don't want you to agree with me. The majority of my team does not agree with half the things I say, and they shouldn't. I think the yes culture is a completely different animal, but I think if we have a common goal and we know 15 ways to get there, then guess what? One of them is going to work.
Yep. Amen. Amen. Well, if you had to leave them with one more thing, the best piece of advice in sales, what's your best piece of advice?
Don't leave yourself out of your selling process. Everybody can sell. Anybody can sell anything. But the way that you get to be elite level is by dialing up who you actually are, because who you actually are is going to do two things. The first thing it's going to do naturally is what the gurus say. You want to attract as many people as possible. Sure, absolutely. But you also want to repel the people that just don't speak your language. Send them over to Bob. Bob's on the bottom rung. He's not a high energy type of person. He's not going to shoot you straight. He's not going to BS about certain things, but repel the people who aren't for you. That way it's a clear path to the people who are. And the other thing I want to say is when you are doubling down on who you are, you get really clear about your good and your bad. And instead of trying to fix your bad, you specialize in fixing the things that are phenomenal about you and tweaking those all the way up, because you're not going to change. Your synapses have been fried since you were 5 years old. Who you are is who you are. You can make adjustments, but the best parts of you, those are the things that are going to be the secret sauce that's going to make you an A-list seller. So don't shy away from that and stop looking at sales like the world looks at sales. Look at sales for what it actually is. There's not a product or service on this planet that is not sold, even the free stuff. So once you get that, you'll be golden, man. And I tell people all the time, if you want to look at the best salesman who has ever lived, you can pick up my book, Sell It Like Jesus, Principles and Strategies of the World's Greatest Salesman, because that's the thing. You can't argue. The merch numbers are legendary. The book, it's still selling to this day, and $33 million a week in tithes and offerings ain't nothing to shake a stick at.
It's funny. That's what I always say to make people feel better. I'm like, well, I mean, Jesus didn't get them all, and he's the best salesman out there. He got a lot of them. He didn't get them all. He didn't get them all. He got a lot of them.
My sheep will hear my voice. That's what he said.
All right. Well, if they want to find you and plug in with you more, how can they do that?
Oh, it's real easy. My website is thebusinessbully.com/without paid ads. I'll show you exactly how to sell without having to spend a whole bunch of money on ads. And you can follow me on all social media at The Business Bully. I'm always here to help and chop it up with folks. Go Eagles!
Well, thanks for joining us, man. All right. Well, leaving away from that today, man. Hopefully, if you are in sales, not in sales, everybody's in sales. Right? Everybody's in sales. But I would say the major theme of today, and I want you to walk away from this, is this. Sales is not about products. Yes, you have to believe in the product, but at the end of the day, it's about a real connection between people. And that is something, thank God, that AI will never be able to replace. See you next week. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us for another episode of Escaping the Drift. Hope you got a bunch out of it, or at least as much as I did out of it. Anyway, if you want to learn more about the show, you can always go over to escapingthedrift.com. You can join our mailing list. But do me a favor, if you wouldn't mind, throw up that 5-star review, give us a share, do something, man. We're here for you. Hopefully, you'll be here for us. But anyway, in the meantime, we will see you at the next episode.